Imagine being the spiritual leader of more than 1 billion faithful, having to make decisions that influence not only the faith of millions of people, but also global politics, all while dealing with daily challenges that test your physical and mental endurance. Now imagine that, in addition to all that, your body begins to show signs of wear, presenting unbearable pain, difficulties in mobility, and growing frailty. This is the reality of Pope Francis, who at 88 years old is facing one of the most delicate periods of his pontificate. In recent years, he has suffered worrying falls, undergone multiple surgeries, and today depends on a wheelchair to carry out much of his commitments. But does all this indicate that we are nearing a papal resignation? Or is Francis's determination to continue his mission unshakable regardless of the challenges? Is the Vatican hiding information about his true health condition? What is happening behind the scenes in the Church? Stay until the end of this video, because the information we are about to reveal might completely change your view about the future of Pope Francis and the Catholic Church. But first, we want to know your opinion. Do you think the Pope should resign due to his health conditions, or should he remain in office until the end? Leave your comment right now, and don't forget to like this video as it helps us continue bringing relevant content to you. Is the Pope's health deteriorating? Since taking on the papacy in 2013, Pope Francis has demonstrated that his leadership would be different. He rejected the traditional luxuries of the Apostolic Palace, chose to live in a simpler residence, and adopted a more accessible approach, winning over millions of faithful around the world. However, in recent years, his health has become an increasing cause for concern. The first signs of frailty began to appear in 2020 when the Pope suffered severe sciatica crises, an extremely painful condition that affects the spine and the nerves of the legs. The pain was so intense that he had to cancel important events, including that year's traditional New Year's Mass. At the time, Francis revealed that the pain was something he would not wish upon anyone, a rare confession from a leader so reserved about his physical condition. But that was just the beginning. The following year, in 2021, the Pope underwent colon surgery, a delicate and risky procedure. The operation lasted 3 hours, requiring the removal of a portion of the organ. The recovery was slow, and he had to be hospitalized for 11 days. The Vatican stated that the surgery was a success, but experts began to question whether the Pope would be able to maintain his intense schedule of commitments. In 2022, the situation worsened even further. The chronic pain in his right knee intensified, becoming one of the biggest physical challenges of his life. Initially, Francis tried using a cane, but soon had to resort to a wheelchair. In several public appearances, he was seen being helped by his assistants, and on some occasions, he couldn't even get up to greet the pilgrims. This was one of the moments when rumors of a possible resignation began to spread more forcefully. Even in the face of these difficulties, he did not interrupt his activities. In July 2023, he underwent another surgery, this time to treat an incisional hernia. The procedure was necessary to remove scar tissue, a common condition in people who have undergone multiple abdominal surgeries, but the problems didn't stop there. In December 2024, a new incident further alarmed the Vatican and the faithful. The Pope suffered a fall inside his residence in the Vatican, resulting in a visible bruise on his right forearm. What is most concerning is that this event occurred just a few weeks after another incident in which he injured his chin in a similar fall. Although he did not fracture any bone, he had to use a sling as a precautionary measure. If that wasn't alarming enough, at Christmas 2024, Francis faced a severe cold, which forced him to cancel public commitments for the first time in his pontificate. During the midnight mass, the faithful noticed something unprecedented. The Pope was wearing a hearing aid, something that had never been seen before. From that point on, rumors about his debilitated health grew even more. And then we arrive at January 2025, when the Vatican confirmed yet another fall, this time with visible bruises on the Pope's face. Despite this, he continued to keep his schedule, demonstrating impressive resilience. But for how long? This is the big question that is being debated by experts and the clergy alike. Is Francis preparing his resignation? In the face of so many physical challenges, does Francis truly plan to remain in office until the end? Or are we approaching another papal resignation, something that hadn't happened for centuries before Benedict XVI? The precedent set by Benedict XVI in 2013, becoming the first pope to resign in 600 years, reignited the debate about the physical limits of a pontiff. At the time, his decision was seen as an act of courage, as it showed the world that a pope can resign if he is no longer able to govern the church. But does Francis consider this possibility? In several interviews, he stated that he has no plans to resign unless his health completely prevents him from governing the church. However, some recent actions suggest that he might be paving the way for a transition. In August 2024, the Pope announced a visit to the city of L'Aquila in Italy. What is special about this place? It was there that Pope Celestine V, who resigned the papacy in 1294, once lived. Coincidence or a sign that Francis is considering following the same path? Furthermore, in the same month, he convened a consistory to create 21 new cardinals, of whom 16 are under 80 years old, meaning they can participate in a conclave to elect the next pope. This move indicates that Francis is actively shaping the future of the church, choosing leaders who share his progressive vision. Does this mean he intends to resign soon? There is still no definitive answer, but the signs are becoming increasingly evident. We want to know your opinion. Do you think Pope Francis is preparing his resignation, or do you believe that he will continue until his health completely prevents him? Write in the comments, because we want to know what you think about this historic moment. But if Pope Francis is indeed planning his resignation, what would that mean for the future of the Catholic Church? Would we be about to witness a historic moment that could completely redefine the structure of the Vatican? Or is all this merely speculation based on his weakened health? If we look at history, we see that a pope's resignation is not something common. Before Benedict XVI, who made that decision in 2013, the last pontiff to abdicate was Celestine V, more than 700 years ago. For centuries, the tradition was clear: a pope should remain in command until his death. However, when Benedict XVI broke that paradigm, he opened up a new possibility for the future of the papacy. But Francis's situation is different. While Benedict XVI justified his resignation by stating that he no longer had the physical and mental strength to continue, Francis insists that his health, despite the challenges, still allows him to lead. However, his limitations are becoming increasingly evident, and many experts believe that his departure is only a matter of time. Looking at his moves within the Vatican, it is clear that he is preparing his legacy. The recent appointment of 21 new cardinals, of whom 16 are under 80 years old, shows that he wants to ensure that his vision of the Church remains alive even after his departure. This is a clear sign that Francis is shaping the future of the Church, which raises an inevitable question: is he paving the way to leave office? If Francis's resignation does indeed happen, what will the succession process be like? Unlike in 2013, when the Church was not yet prepared for the idea of a Pope Emeritus, today the situation is completely different. This raises another question: would having two living popes at the same time create divisions within the Church? Another intriguing issue is the way Francis contradicts himself when speaking about his possible departure. In some interviews, he states that he does not intend to resign and that he would only leave office if his health completely prevented him from governing. However, On other occasions, he indicated that he does not rule out that possibility, which only increases the speculations. His most recent autobiography, released in January 2025, brought even more fuel to the rumors. In one of the most striking passages, Francis writes, "The body imposes limits, but the spirit must remain unshakable." For some, this phrase means that he will continue in office until the end. For others, it is an indication that he is preparing to accept his limitations and pave the way for a transition. Whatever the interpretation, one thing is certain. Francis no longer has the same energy as before. His body no longer responds in the same way, and his physical limitations are only increasing. Now imagine leading the world's largest religious institution while facing intense pain, difficulties in moving, and an exhausting schedule that demands constant presence. This is without mentioning the internal political pressure within the Vatican, where not everyone agrees with his progressive vision. The truth is that Francis carries an enormous weight on his shoulders. He has already made it clear that his mission goes beyond his physical condition, but to what extent will that be possible? Time can be relentless, and the Pope himself seems to be aware of that. On the other hand, there is another factor that could influence his decision: the Vatican itself. While many cardinals support his leadership, there is also a conservative group that opposes his reforms and believes that his departure would open the door for a change in direction within the Church. If Francis resigns now, will his mission be considered incomplete, or has he already done enough to ensure that his reforms continue in the future? The answer to this question depends on how he wishes to be remembered. If he remains in office until the end, he will be seen as one of the most resilient popes in history. If he resigns, it will solidify the idea that a pope can leave office if he perceives that he no longer has the strength to continue. But regardless of his choice, the impact will be enormous. The Catholic Church, with more than 1.3 billion faithful, will undergo a transition that could define the course of Catholicism for the coming decades. And this is where your opinion becomes crucial. Do you believe that Francis should resign to make way for a new leader? Or should he remain in office until the end, regardless of the challenges? Write in the comments, because we want to know what you think about this historic moment. And remember, the story of Pope Francis is still being written, and the next chapters may surprise the entire world. If you liked this video, leave your like, activate the notification bell to receive updates, and share it with your friends so that more people can reflect on this topic. See you in the next video.